So for this panel, I will be held by Kalin Sijif, the managing partner of KN Group. Kalin? You look better than on the picture. You have to change your picture. Adina Oprea. Is Adina here? Yes. Adina is from Samsung Electronics. We all know that technology is becoming more and more important into our hotels. Liviu Andre. Liviu Andre is a very interesting concept that he has developed that he will show us a little later. Sorry, my glasses are going. Vlad Docaru, Huawei. From Huawei, Romania, as you know as well, the total infrastructure in an hotel, when we speak cabling and God knows how many data have to transfer everywhere, is quite important. We have Grégoire Hambourg. Grégoire is specialized in the FF&E procurement, but more than that, so he will tell us everything about the element. And finally, George Tuxiu, managing partner of Value Creation Solution. You're here. I think there is. Yeah. Probably you have a large panel. As I said, we have a large panel. There is a lot of different fields into the hotel renovation that are important, and as well, when you renovate an hotel, it's not only to okay, I put the same paint, I put the same curtain. No, a renovation is the opportunity for hoteliers to upgrade their hotel, to update their hotel to the new technology, to the new options that are available today on the market, and that's what we want to look at. There is a lot of shall I say, obstacle on the renovation. Things can go right, things can go wrong. You can have delays in the delivery, not the correct connectivities. You can have maybe a bed that does not go up. I don't know. So there is a lot of element to be looked at. A renovation is a full project. I have seen, as I mentioned, like Russell said, we just above 25, so we have seen a few things. When you start to renovate, most of the time you say, okay, we will do only that, and then you start to open the walls, and then you have the surprises, because a lot of things has to be fixed, and the pipes, and everything. So it's important when you start renovation to look at the entirety of the project, to really have the final product that you have. One of the first elements, I'll just say a few words and then I give it to you, is definitely what do you want to do with your renovation? Where do you want to put your hotel on the market? Do you want to have the same hotel with refreshing? Or do you want to create a new product answering the expectation of clients? We all know that our clients are changing year on year. Someone said, yes, we still boil pasta with water. Yes, maybe no robot will do it, who knows. But the guest expectation, the service that they want to have, the product that they want to see into the room are different. I still remember, when I started into the business, to have a color TV was wow. Nowadays, your TV has to be multifunctional, right? It's not, yes, you still watch TV on the TV, but there you do a lot of other things. So this is all those elements that we have to consider. We have the introduction of all the technology. We have all the self-check-in coming in. The guest wants, doesn't want, that's another story. But definitely part of the clientele is expecting to have a guest self-checking because they want to go faster. It depends again of your clientele. So what you select to product has to be as well in line with the clientele that you expect. If you are a leisure hotel, I would say a customer will still expect to have contact, a lot more contact than if you're a business hotel, where, and I've been corporate for Hilton, so I was traveling 200 days per year. Yes, when I'm arriving in the hotel, I just wanted to go to my room, not to have all the blah blah. So I think that's the whole thing that we will discuss. We will share some of the innovation that we can have. We will share some success story or not that success story, what were the obstacles that we had, that some of us encounter on the path, and trying to find what can be the solution to have a successful renovation. Now, if I would ask, what do you think? So we start with Kalin, and then we can, as a first, and then we can, what do you think as a key step into an hotel renovation? Good question, isn't it? And now I will hand over the words to them.
Right. So we have a little bit above an hour to discuss this topic, and I understand you want it to be as interactive as possible.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
As we open a discussion at some point with the audience, I would like to ask you to say at least one thing before putting your question forth to us. Let us know what is the perspective from which you're addressing your question. And I'm gonna give an example by explaining what my perspective is and how I hope to be useful to this panel. I am Romanian, and I left in 1997, and then I lived and I worked on 4 continents since then. And I started my first consulting job in 1999, and since then I moved in a cycle that happened 3 times to me. I went through consulting, entrepreneurship, and investment, and then again and again. So my expertise is not so much hospitality as it is decision science applied to how do you develop a city. Within that, how do you develop maybe a resort? Within that, how do you develop a hotel? And at different scales, try to look at the very long perspective. My clients were governments, so we were talking about how do we build for the next 50 to 100 years and what do we take into account. So this is the kind of perspective that I bring to this panel, a little bit from above, not so much about the operating aspects, but maybe the strategy of it and the innovation of it. And with that in mind, I believe that for successful innovations, the #1 thing from my view is to cultivate purposefully 3 types of obsessions. Obsession #1, which should be quite natural for hospitality, is an obsession with the customer, so that every single decision is expressed in terms of the impact on the customer, and that has implications. Obsession #2 is with cost cutting and cost control, because it's something very interesting that happens in hotels as they happen in cities. Every single thing that you build will accumulate costs, but value actually gets unlocked at thresholds. And in managing these 2 dynamics, you can either create or destroy a lot of value when you renovate. And finally, and this is my perspective, is this obsession with trying to be better and better at how you make decisions, which is a question of process and innovation at product level, service level, and business model. And the final idea that I want to share is that when you're done conceiving and executing on your ideal renovation and you've built the maximum possible value for your clients, you're still just halfway there, because this is when you start capturing some of the value for you as a business, and you need to be able to do it over a long term, and you need to be able to constantly monitor and adjust course as the market changes while your asset is largely fixed, unless you build flexibility in through your renovation. Thank you so much. I hope that set the scene.
Thank you. Does anyone want to comment on that part? Or what are the, you just opened an hotel, Livio, right? So tell us the experience that you had. And you have, and we will show it later, quite a specific innovation that we'll show because it's a new concept, and I think you are one of the first to come with that concept. But how did you plan? Because I think it's a lot of planning. Of course, you have the financial planning, which is extremely important as well, but the planning of the element.
Thank you. I think the key is to
You can see on the back. This is the
to adapt to the new market needs. We have new traveler needs. After the pandemic period, we have no man's digital. We have other type of customers, and we must adapt daily to use our room from the hotel in a multifunctional way. If you hear on the screen, there is a bed with a sofa under, or a bed with a desk. I can work and sleep in the same place. There is a lot of advantage to do that because you didn't spend time between the hotel and the office building. You don't need to park and to go and to waste time. You can do everything in the room. It's very important to adapt to these needs. This teenager, they want to work and sleep, and they appreciate very lot of time. And that's one way to transform the hotels in the new trend and to use the space in a multifunctional ways. Actually, in one room you can have office, you can have sleeping area and living area. And this is our new concept, and we want to build a hotel in these multifunctional rooms. And we already start planning. We are now in the approval for the building permit, and we will implement that in Brasov, because we are based there in Brasov. But at the same time, we discuss all over the world. We open these showrooms in Paris, Vienna, Brussels, and other cities in Europe, and we discuss with the other hotel owners to transform the hotel rooms in a multifunctional space. And that, I think, is the key to renovate the hotel and to have multifunctional uses on the hotel room. And they have a big impact on the environment. You don't need to build more rooms. You can save the energy living and working in the same place, or pollute with the cars between the hotel and the office travel. All this, it's for us priority to invest and to transform in what you see in the video. And we think this is the new way in the hotel industry.
Thank you. You know, the first time I saw the concept of Livio, my first idea coming to my mind, we have a lot of hotels, mainly in this part of the world, with very small rooms. And then you have to put a desk, you have to put a bed, you have to put everything, and the room becomes very crowded. And then,
True.
you know, and we know in Romania we have a lot of those rooms on 15, 17 square meter, where if you want to have a little flexibility for the customer, it's quite difficult. And I thought, wow, that could be the solution for those small rooms to have a upgraded product. It's completely innovation, I have to say. I don't know if any of one has seen one of those idea, but I think it's something quite interesting to develop. Congratulations for the idea.
Thank you. When we discussed about elephant from the room, in my head was this bed, classic bed in the room, how we escaped the elephant from the room. The single space free in the small room is the ceiling. And we put the bed there, and we gain the space to use for the office or to make a meeting there in a very nice place. Thank you.
May I address a question?
Sure.
At this stage or later?
Go ahead.
How much more expensive is it for the same footprint of a room to adapt it to this particular flexible use than to just have a standard use?
With the installation of the system, including the bed and the desk, it's standard 5,500 euro. We can discuss, depends on how many rooms, which is the production, we can negotiate that, but the standard price is 5,500 euro.
Is there a maintenance ongoing for the?
Yes, yes. The product is TÜV certificate. It's created and built in Germany. Was tested 5,000 cycles, and we obtained the TÜV Rheinland certificate. It's a security certificate to implement the product, and it's running without maintenance 5,000 cycles. If you calculate, it's more than 10 years without maintenance.
Hello. It's okay. My name is Adina. I'm from Samsung. Samsung, if you know, it's a leader in technology, in smart and professional displays right now. So I will tell something from a supplier perspective. Samsung it's committed to transform the hospitality landscape and also to meet the evolving expectation of a traveler worldwide. So from us, it's very important to some steps, some key milestones. It's very important to begin with a truth evaluate of the existing property. So it's very important to assess the property. Also to, let's say, discover, immediate, if there are something urgent to be, I don't know, something to need to repair something, and also to reduce the long time expensive. Also, it's very important to have a plan, a detailed plan, outlining the scope of this project, the budget, and the timeline. It's very important. Another key milestone is to customer impact mitigation, to ensure that the customers or the renovation is made in a period with low occupancy for customers. It's very important also to have to integrate the latest technology in the renovation of the hotel, and to be from the beginning, yeah, to ensure that at the first of the project you will be the earlier stage, because for a long time it's very important to be there and to have a overall, let's say, project, to see the overall, and to also, I have it's first time here in the panel. And
Please.
Yeah, also it's very important to have a strong team to ensure that you can collaborate with the experts, with the architects, with the constructors, and so on. So from our point of view, it's very important to be from the beginning, to discuss and to evaluate the property, and to understand what are the customer needs, the project needs, and to be sure that you can deliver a transforming experience for the customers and also for the hospitality industry.
I think you mentioned something very important that is sometimes forgotten from the beginning. A lot of suppliers, and we'll speak about furniture, we speak about technology, we speak about infrastructure, they have to be considered from the start of your renovation. If you do your design and everything, and then only after you realize, we did not know that we had to do that, then if you want to have the best product at the end, some key suppliers, and there is multiple and everything, but have to be involved from the beginning. And, because as I was saying, for today to put a TV, smart TV, whatever, it's not just hang the TV on the wall. there is quite a few other things that have to be foreseen before. Maintenance size, the way it is, you know. There was, years ago, you know, we had the, it was usual to have the TV encastrated into a wooden frame in the middle. I come to me. Then the brand say, oh, we don't want to have a 35-inch TV anymore, we want to have a 55-inch TV. So what do you do with all your furniture? You destroy everything? So that was this element that you have to look in advance to see what do you want. What's, if you don't tell to your designer or to your furniture manufacturer that I will put there a TV of 55 inch, and that the TV arrive, no room to do it. And I see Grégoire saying yes, yes, yes. I'm sure you had.
Yes, just a simple note.
Adina wanted to say something, and after I give it to you, Grégoire. Adina, go ahead.
This is about a seamless integration that ensure that you can integrate the latest technology property to be, let's say, integrate in the design, and also to ensure that infrastructure is also scalability or something. Yes, supporting.
Grégoire who is, I'll say, more on the FF&E, he will explain from pre-procurement till installation.
Yeah, thanks, Christine. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I'm very touched to be here today, as I was with Ray as a student and with Sir Colin Johnson. So when I see myself now, 24 years later, it's got a bit of emotion. So thank you again for everything you've done and this organization and everybody behind. Renovation, I just don't want to disappoint everybody, but it always goes wrong. We've done over a lot of properties, and it's never gone right. It's not because people don't work properly. It's just it's a very complex job. You can have the best interior designer, you can name them. There will always be details which has been forgotten. From any continent you are, it's not a matter of people more knowing how to work. You find walls will not be straight, the cupboard will not fit in. 5 keys, what is 5 keys? 5 keys is quite simple. We are one-stop shop procurement, which we bring FF&E and OS&E. So FF&E and OS&E is furniture, and OS&E is operating stock equipment, such as mattress. And we operate on three continents with a fully integrated team. So we have team based in Asia, team based in Africa, and team based in Europe. So what we do is we procure full scope once renovation or transformation or greenfield. So I would say, to answer the question, what are the elements which are very important to make sure that renovation is a success? I think the first key you need to have is a good project management, meaning that you perfectly know what you need, you have not forgotten anything, and most important, you need to work hands in hands with the brand. The brand is a lot forgotten sometimes by the investor. Everybody has their own target, but the brand is very, very important. They have a very good know-how, and they will give you the specification. So project management, right from the start, I would say 32 months is the best because you already acquired the land. It's very rare. You always come in at the last. But I would say for renovation, it's something that you already know. Second thing, I would say, know your procurement, where you're going to buy the goods. We don't believe in the made in somewhere. We believe in the made in the world. We buy kitchen, laundry, more towards France and Spain. More technologies, more towards China, such as safe. Wood structure, tailor-made, could come from Italy, but come also from Vietnam. It depends. And with all that, the procurement, the quality is the must. Whatever you procure, make sure that you have internally your own quality system in place, quality control. It doesn't mean you control only, but you have your own specification. Third element is the logistics. You need to handle your logistics, either by inland, truck, sea, air, whatever it is. You need professional people to make sure that logistics is on time. Otherwise, you do not control where are your goods, and most important, to avoid any damages. So I would say this is the third key, I believe. Fourth key is installation. This is the most critical part. Everybody will tell you, go in, go in. I'm sure all of you know I've had experiences. The hotel is ready, go in, 5 keys, go in. It's never ready. Painting is happening, plumbing is happening, but you need to adapt, so you need to be agile. So this is, I think, in the fourth key of the installation is a very critical part. And last, after sales training, so once you have all those components, then you're able to be on time. And at the end of the day, whatever people will say, one driver is the cost. It is the cost, whatever people will tell you. The investor is paying. The operator has a budget. So we must be in the cost, efficiency.
And I will just bounce on cost, because I think as well when you look at renovation, look as well as improving your flow for the operation. That's your activities. When we go to designer, that's what your designer could not come today. Designer, a few are specialized in hotel industry, a few are not. So sometimes they give you a wonderful design, looks very nice, but it's not efficient for the operation. I remember one hotel where we had a wonderful design. The entire sink and the tabletop were all glass. Very nice looking. Nightmare for housekeeping, you know, because they had to redo everything. So when you select what kind of renovation you do, and that's where Supplier can help you, pay attention as well on what is the impact on your operating structure. And sometimes you have the opportunity to adjust some of the flow to smooth your operating cost structure, because renovation should, of course, improve the sales, but if at the same time you can improve your flow of work into the hotel to reduce the cost, you have a double gaining. Now, as you're speaking about cost, I will go on energy, right? We all know that energy today is, traditionally we were saying in an hotel the energy cost is around 4%. That was the international benchmark. Nowadays, I see quite often energy rising to, not speaking the hotel with Balneo, because there I know, of course, it's a lot more, but easily reaching 7–10%, which is starting to be a heavy cost for the hotel. So, Georgie, I know that you are into the energy, smart energy, I would say, so please tell us what kind of element. And I think, same thing, I think changing the energy or setting the source of energy, because you do some, has to be foreseen quite in advance.
Thank you very much, Christine. So I'll not start talking about energy first, but about my experience in big projects. I worked 45 years in big industrial renovations called turnarounds for refineries, power plants, chemical plants. And I've seen there that there are some key elements for the success of a turnaround, of a renovation. First one, it's try to hire a serious and professional engineering, procurement, and construction partner, EPC contractor. If you sign a contract with such a guy, with such a company, 50% of your problems diminish. Are not solved, but diminish. Second, can be summarized in 3 words: planning, planning, planning. And here I'll give you an example. I worked for a refinery who was making renovations, turnarounds every 2 years. And sometimes they were forced to speed up to finish the actual renovation because the next one had to start. When the assets were acquired by a new owner, they said, we'll make renovations every 5 years. And the guy started to laugh, saying, so 3 years we'll sleep. And the new owner said, no, 3 years you will make the planning. And They didn't have the planning 3 years, but they had 2 years. And what happened, instead of working 2 years for the effective work, they worked only 6 months, and everything was perfect. So planning, 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 it's very important, and this includes everything. Engineering, logistics, having a buffer area where to store everything which needs to be installed later on. After planning, there is another issue which needs to be kept into consideration. After you finish rehabilitation or renovation, don't stop working. Maintain your asset. The so-called continuous improvement. Maintain your asset because this will save you costs, and this will help you to have a faster rehabilitation next time. This is, after my opinion, the customer side, the hotel side. There is also the supplier side, which I'll tell you later after some other colleagues will add something. Thank you.
Okay. Well, now there is the entire digitalization and infrastructure, which as well in the world of today, sorry, you cannot open an hotel. Well, you can have some hotels that are called rustic, but digitalization, which means connectivity, is extremely important for both the customer, but as well for you during renovation. If you install the wrong element, you will have problems. So, your turn.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you very much for inviting me and Huawei to this very nice event, very elite club of the hospitality, I can say. For me, it's the first time when I attend to such kind of vertical event, although recently I have participated to many technology or even energy events. But I liked very much the title because I see the conversion, and I would like to add maybe one word before, the digital conversion, actually the digital transformation of the hotel industry. So from our side as a technology provider perspective, mainly for the digital infrastructure, which nowadays is everywhere. We can see it independently from our homes to hotels and other leisure places. I would summarize in 3 words. First is intelligence, then it's high quality, and the third one is green. And I will quickly go through them to explain what I want to say. So yes, by renovating a hotel or building a new one, it's a very good opportunity to align with the latest technology. And just a small comment, if I would be an investor when I will start such kind of business, or I will want to expand my business, I will very much look into the TCO, in the total cost of ownership. From this perspective, I would go to select my technology partner who would have the right KPIs for my business. And coming back to what I said, the 3 keywords, from intelligence, I would recommend to look into a technology that is very innovative, that is self-automated, and it has some clear advantages comparing with the benchmarks. And here I refer also to the standards of the industry, because ITNC, it's now everywhere, so you can find the different benchmarks from different reports, third-party reports. The high quality is very important because you don't need to have any quality of experience problem with your guests in a hospitality environment. So everybody knows when you go, especially you have a big family, you have many devices, many gadgets, automatically you go in the hotel, you want to connect in the same time to the internet. This is the first requirement. If in that moment you have a bottleneck of a problem, then maybe more than 50% of the satisfaction will drop, and then you'll have a lot of potential complaints. And then you have to come to fix it, to identify where is the problem, and then could be at least a 30 minutes blocking point, so definitely nobody have time to wait this period. So the high quality is very important because you need to have a continuous service, so a very good quality of experience using the technology you have. then you have a multiple environment of technologies, because if you invest in one direction, you don't have to consider only the experience of of your end user, if I can say. You have to consider the functionality of your whole complex. In a hotel, I don't have only rooms. I have corridors, I have a business area, which is very important, and I have the administrative and the security part, from the parking lot to the control and central access and so on. So this is another important. How can I use the same technology to connect different type of services and still my network to be stable without any blocking point? And green, of course, green is very important because we have a lot of pressure on the cost, on the operational cost, on the OPEX. I don't want to have a technology that consumes a lot of power. Even I have my own green power source, let's say. So therefore, I need to have a technology that is pretty much adapted and if possible, I would say, to have a much passive part of the network rather than an active one. And here I come back to the solution that we want to introduce today, and I will try to be short. The fiber to the office, fiber to the room, which is a solution based on fiber optic, one single cable for one single room and for one single device, instead of, in average, at least 5 cables in a room, which are copper-based. By using a fiber solution, by the way, my number of equipment room will decrease 80%. This is from our study talking with the customers that we have globally. By the way, more than 120 hospitality groups are using Huawei solution and this FTTO solution. So in one shot, we can decrease, besides the point of failures, you decrease the cost of electricity, because you have less equipment room that have to be equipped, not only by powering the equipment, by the environment, air condition, control access, and so on. And power redundancy, by the way, don't forget about it. And thirdly, if you want to be environment friendly and a green, you have a green stamp on you, then you have to consider that, for example, in average in a big complex or in a building, you have at least 60 kilometers of cables. If you switch and install the fiber optic, then you will have, according to our estimation, at least 1.33 tons of reducing the carbon dioxide. So you can say that you are very friendly with the environment, and it's not because you have to, it's a marketing, but it's a reality nowadays, because in the end, this will go to cost saving. So keeping in mind this, I come back to the initial question, yes, the technology partner is very important, because as a vendor, you need to fulfill a lot of requirements. You'll have a lot of pressure on the network. Imagine that you have CCTV system running over a network that will have to give internet access to your customers. You have video services, you have a lot of sensors, you have everything digital. So in this case, and you have the smart hotel room, which is another environment that you have to keep in mind. So if you take into consideration all these aspects, definitely you need to find a proper partner with the right technology, with a good benchmark again, and to consider these factors, because I will finish with another important thing. Operation and maintenance of this network shouldn't be a nightmare. You don't have to have an army of IT guys that should be panicked in case you don't find the bottleneck or to troubleshoot your network. We do have intelligent platform that automatically can, even with one IT guy, can monitor and make fault identification, service bottleneck, or I don't know, fault equipment that can operate this network very, very easy. So you have a platform that can deliver so many services with a high quality of service, with high speed. Here I'm referring about Wi-Fi 7, the latest standard, that can really support your business to grow and have a positive image and in the end not lose money.
And I think one of point that, as we were discussing some project, renovation should be the opportunity for you to look at new product, new alternative, new development, the thing. And we were discussing with Vlad for one project where there is 2 property. In fact, with this kind of infrastructure, you will be able to have one central for the 2 hotels. And they are distant and everything, which again, save you on cost, save you on manning, because you don't have to have the two elements that can be centralized. Today, we know that payroll cost is one of the close to energy, going up very fast. So when you renovate, get an open mind. Look at what is new on the market, because there is way to improve efficiency. And if you go back to Samsung, and I call them smart hospitality TV, there's so many things you can do with them anymore. Today, there is so many options that you can do from, at the past you had on your TV messages, a few advertising, and the TV. Nowadays, you can use a lot of things, and not only for the customer. What a lot of well, I'm sure that Samsung does it, I'm not sure, but a lot of TV allows you for your team, like question of interface and connectivity and everything. When your housekeeping has cleaned the room, they can release the room through the TV, through the system. That will send information directly to your PMS system, front office system, so that it's question of interface and everything. I think we had it here with Tim. So this is this kind of element that you have to see. What is worse, especially if you are in a business hotel with a high level of turnover, it's extremely important that front office, you have it as well on Opera Mobile and everything, but that the information goes quickly between the ladies in the room, for the housekeeping, for the room service, and information sent to the center of customer system, which will say is your PMS or your front office system, being the Opera, the HMC, the whatever system you have.
Related the smart signage solution, our latest solution for hospitality, what I want to say is very important that kind of solution, smart signage solution, they are created to offer to customer an immersive and entertainment in the room. Also, they have a platform, link platform, that allow to hotel to control the room, the energy, and so on. It's very important to have that kind of platform. And also it's very important to use the latest technology also in order to be compliant with the data protections, because right now it's very important to, after the guest will check out, yes, it's very important to erase the data from the system, yes. And this is an important topic right now.
The additional information that we have to pay attention. Do you have any question? Because you have been now talking yourself for almost 35 minutes. Any question? Any of you is on ongoing renovation where you have question or you want to have additional information? I'm moving there in that corner because I have the puppy through. No question?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Well, a few questions open in my mind listening to you. And one of them is to clarify what we're talking about when we're talking about the renovation, because they are so many types of renovations depending on the intent that you have. Why do you renovate? The scope of the renovation and the way you finance it. And when it comes to the intent, I mean, are you forced to renovate? Is the government coming to you and say, hey, you need to comply with this? Is the brand you have on board coming to you and say, hey, you need to comply with the contract, with the brand standards? Is it a question of customer experience that no longer is satisfiable because, some things go only towards lack of order as you postpone renovation? When it comes to the scope, generally I like to think in terms of, is the capex of the renovation, how does it compare to the initial development cost of the hotel? And then you have your ranges there. And then you start with a soft renovation, you can get away with anywhere in between 10 and 20% if you're on the lower side of the standard of hotel, or you can go much higher. If you do a full renovation, you go 50 to 80% of the initial cost, depending again on the scale. But then you have the conversion, where you have the opportunity to do structural changes, to upgrade the internals of the hotel, to reinvent the product and go for another market segment perhaps. And I just feel that maybe it is that scenario that is one of the most relevant for the rest of the panelists. And I was wondering, whenever you are thinking of putting forth your value proposition to an owner or an investor who renovates, what kind of renovation is the most attractive to you? And what do you mean by being there at the beginning of the process? Now this is for the panel, the question.
Yes, that's fine. You read my mind in advance.
Perhaps I can add just a little bit of context to make it easier to answer. When our portfolio hotels come to have a renovation approved by us, and by us I mean whatever the client is or whatever the developer is, we generally think in terms of a 12-step, very distinct phased process of renovating. And it always starts with the idea that before, once you understand the market and why you want to renovate, you move into the concept and feasibility, which you need before you can talk to the brand, the operator, which you need before you can start planning and design, which you need before you can actually put the money in, and so forth. So it's kind of many decisions are made by themselves. And in this kind of path of dependencies, I'm curious where is the ideal spot for each of you, because I would want to know.
Well, firstly, in terms of the assets, that's for sure that the owner, whoever do not renovate the assets at some stage, about renovation is going to be a huge impact at some stage. I would say it's a bit like, shipping line having their containers, they're using them, so suddenly there's a leakage, and they're trying to save cost in terms of investment. But on the long term, it's not the right thing. So first, we clearly encourage at some stages to really undergo renovation. Now, brands usually perfectly have statistics, and they perfectly know when usually renovation should happen and what type of renovation. There are numbers usually. It's quite clear. They give you that figures that normally you can follow. Now, in terms of cost, which is something we really focus on, it really depends because I would say, the age of the building and what type of renovation you want to do. Sometimes it's better to do a greenfield and get the building down, and you will be faster, quicker with higher technology. So that could be some equation. So I don't think we don't see in the equation of cost and analysis that I would say renovation is higher than greenfield. It depends. Sometimes renovation can be much, much higher than greenfield and much longer, because also you have to have special permits locally, whatever, to get the transformation. So that's my analysis.
And hopefully you are not in an historical building.
I would add to this that what I know is the Middle East, but then whenever we look at portfolio that has US, it's a jump in the cost because you have higher standards, perhaps, maybe more regulations. Definitely the materials and the labor is much higher, and then the highest is the market that I know the least about, it's Europe. And here, automatically, we're thinking conversion of historical buildings and everything that means, and then the highest regulation possible, and then also the most expensive people to get things done. Do you see the same?
The challenge and we can speak Romania, because we all know if you have done renovation, the time and the energy that is to be there before you receive the work permit, the building permit. And that, and that's why it's important, and somehow why suppliers have to be involved quite in advance, because when your drawings and everything, and many, if you're in a historical building and you give the design, they have to approve it, so you cannot change it after, because otherwise you could have a problem later. So there is a lot of, and who has done a renovation lately? I know Accor has done renovation, but it was mid-soft, right? You know that we are talking about the Aero Palace, Aero Palace in Brasov that will go, it was announced, so we know we can talk, to a massive renovation. This is an historical building. You can imagine the number of obstacle and challenges that we have to have, because you have, of course, the entire technique and consolidation and everything that's approved. Then you have to have the cultural heritage that's approved. Then you have someone else who has to approve. So there is a lot of process. And when you want to do this in-depth renovation, not the soft renovation or cleaning up the room, repainting, changing curtain, in your timing, do consider the time that it will require to have all the approbation. Because that is because it costs money. You know, any delay that you have compared to your original plan costs money at the end, if you are not ready for what it is. And I could tell you some example of delay opening that I have. Grégoire, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, and I think what Stan just said, I don't know if you heard the TCO. It's a very important term, not a lot of people knows in terms of cost analysis, is total cost ownership. That means once you start the project, while you give the key, the last key, you perfectly know the cost. And this is very rare, I tell you, that and you I think can know about some of the stories, you have some people on the left saying this is higher cost, on the right, but at the end of the day, what was your total cost, including soft costs in terms of project management, consulting, all that analysis. This is why we talk about cost, needs to be taken into consideration.
Definitely.
Total
Yes.
cost of ownership, it's very important, but I guess there is another parameter which is important, is the return on investment. And here you have a lot of choices, because you can decrease the total cost of ownership using a less performant solution, but which extends the simple payback period. Or you can spend more, what is called providing value for money, which will decrease your operational cost later on, and finally will reduce your simple payback and will generate a better return on investment. So here we need to have a balance.
I love that point.
Thank
I mean,
you, sir.
there's actually an ideal scenario where, at the very beginning, if you invest in the kind of materials that age well and perform well over time, you actually are looking at the scenario where you might avoid a capital expenditure down the road, and you just maintain in a continuous fashion, just as you said, and with a Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, in which you do not hide the changes that occur over time, but you put them into let's say, the best possible light, and then you have layers and layers of history and personality that accumulate on a hotel that you will never renovate if you are successful in being able to continue this continuous improvement, continuous renovation, continuous maintenance. I love it.
I will challenge that.
Well, not the soft goods. Not the soft goods.
You know, I think historically, rooms were built to last 15, 20 years, right? Because this was traditional hospitality. You had the same rooms and vintage and everything. Nowadays, people, if you don't change the atmosphere into the rooms because the expectations have changed, they say, this is an old hotel. Right? There is as well this change in the mentality, because you have to adapt to what the customer wants. You know, in the past you had the heavy wooden goods lasted waiting a lot that you could keep for 10 years, they will not move. Now people want to have lights, furniture, easy, nice, good quality, but there is this mentality, and please, correct me if I'm wrong, because, you know, not because I have 25 plus that I know everything. People ask the hotel to be changed.
May I answer to that? I've noticed that when you look at some of the restaurants that have become institutions over time and survived, they tend to have a 3-tier menu. They have the part of the menu that is the classics, the way we used to treat that particular culinary tradition ever since we have known it. And then they have that portion of the menu that you would consider is the base of this, the ones that are the most popular dishes and what's so And then you always have that innovative, explorative side of the menu where on a seasonal basis perhaps, or on a rotational basis, there's always that satisfaction of getting something new,
something different.
So my question is, why can we not treat a hotel in the same way we treat a tiered menu, where we can have the immortal sides of it, we have the classic sides of it, and then we have a floor for experimenting with the craziest technology, craziest ideas. And we know that our guests who wish for experimentation, they can just book themselves in there. I don't know, it's just an idea.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to give you a short answer. When you go to a restaurant, it's easy to choose the menu. When you go to a hotel, eventually you don't know the hotel. It's very difficult to choose the area. You need first to know, to understand, and later on you make the choice. And think about a hotelier who has to spend a lot of money on these three areas, just waiting that someone will like it. So it's like a lottery a bit, based on my opinion.
This is where the gentleman from Huawei and the lady from Samsung, I think, come in reinventing the customer journey. We've done a study maybe 15 years ago where we looked at the customer journey and what are the decision-making points that impact the most the bottom line of the hotel and the value over the entire life cycle. And it turns out that decisions made before the actual visit, when you book, when you plan, when you kind of create desire, and decisions that you make after your visit, when you recollect and you recommend and you return and when you bring your friends, are a few orders of magnitude more impactful on the success of your hotel compared to the decisions you make once you're already in. When you're in, that's it. Maybe you cross-sell through smart screens or some digital transformation, but you're in. So the question is, how do you control that before and after? The land of the desire, the land of memory. And in my opinion, my view is that we're going to see models of digital incorporation of that before and after that might make it easier for hoteliers to play with these tiers of experiences. Again, I don't have the operational experience to know whether that's a silly idea or not, but it's definitely a possibility.
Something that you could see. That will work, maybe work in some kind of hotel. I remember in hotel in UK, the hotel had been renovated except one room. It was called a vintage room, right? Yeah, people once tried that with fun, but that's it. You know, and so imagine if you have a large group into your hotel, and then, okay, some of you are in the upscale rooms or an innovating room, some are in there. You could create some difficulties to sell the hotel as a whole.
If you will allow me, the operator perspective that you offered, actually it's super important because it speaks to how you can get higher valuation for the hotels by matching the source of finance to the type of renovation that you do. And it's always easier to get the cheapest kind of debt that you collateralize for structure, for HVAC, and then the more you go into these experimental kind of things that I suggested, the more expensive the source of finance becomes. You actually end up maybe having to give up control by selling some of the equity in order to get the crazy ideas done. And 9 out of 10 times they will fail anyway because reality and theory are not the same.
But let's look innovation. Liviu, you have opened your hotel, right? With your...
From my perspective, to adapt the product to the market need, it's a matter of economic yield. It's higher.
But did you haven't opened your hotel with the beds? The hotel is open or not yet?
No, it's not
yet.
open.
Okay.
But we sign a contract with the hotel chain. They want to make some rooms
as a test site to see how it
in this way. Because it's a matter of to be ROI, we discuss about recovery of investment. and it's, the yield is high because you can offer two activity in the same room, and you can rent the room in the higher price, and that's very important to renovate in this way, to answer to the new trends. That was our idea, and we worked 5 years to create the product to be adaptable to the hotel room. And yes, for the small rooms, it's the best idea to use the space. That was our thinking. And from the economic point of view, we try to do the product competitive, to install easy, to make very to put it and to install, and the design was very hard to create, to be able to put in all the hotels. That was very hard to
fit everything.
Yes.
In. Ladies and gentlemen, we have left with 15 minutes, right? So it's time there. Dan, go ahead.
Actually, I have a question for Mr. Tsuku. Mr. Tsuku, can you give us a little bit more information about your solutions for hoteliers which help us to conserve better energy? Please, I know you're specialist in this.
Thank you. It is not an arrangement. I say this because Christine told me no commercial presentation. So, yeah, thank you. I'm serious. So, we deliver energy efficiency solutions called cogeneration, high efficiency cogeneration. Simply speaking, cogeneration, it's a boiler which produces also electricity, or it's a generator which is producing also heat. So in terms of energy efficiency, it improves the energy efficiency significantly. But what is much more important, it improves the economic performance of the building. At the prices which we have now in Romania, where the electricity is 3 times more expensive than the gas, as kilowatt hour per kilowatt hour, such an investment has a simple payback of 3 years, 3.5 years, with an internal rate of return about 25 to 30%. And in 6 years. And in the same 6 years, the net present value, it's 60% of the investment. So you recover the investment plus 60%. Think about to put the money in a bank, how much you have. This is an innovative solution, which is easy to implement, both for new investment, for new buildings, and also for old buildings. It's just a matter of communication in order to understand what are the customer needs and to provide the proper solution in terms of sizing, price, and so on. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tsuku, is it possible with this kind of solutions to reduce your cost of capital by getting government grants? Is that an option?
This is a different discussion. There are many European financings. Also for high efficiency cogeneration, even the fuel is not purely green. Now there is an European decision that for 10 years the natural gas to be considered green, and there are some subsidies, some projects. Yeah, it is possible, but you need subsidy when a project is not feasible. If you have a project with 3 years simple payback, why to take into consideration
a grant,
subsidies?
not a subsidy. Grant
means
it means a source of equity that doesn't dilute, doesn't have to be paid back, just to encourage the adoption.
Yeah. We can talk after the meeting, the session. Thank you.
I think I don't know. I know that Dan and Anna Hotel have a cogeneration system. Is there anyone else who has a cogeneration system or is? Of course. Okay. Just because I know it's important, I know that energy is on the mind of a lot of hotelier or owners or investor. It's a high cost. Oh, yeah, you're in Dubai. You are not that high cost.
I wonder, do you need specialized
That's what I
talent
wanted
to
to ask.
maintain it and to...
What kind of pre-requirement do you have to say, okay, to install a cogenerator? I remember the time when cogenerator were, you know, bigger than this room, I would say.
No. It's like, is smaller than a table. So, yeah. So the prerequisites are related to the price of energy, of electricity, and of the power, of the gas. If the ratio of the price of energy divided by the price of gas exceeds 2.5, you can invest and you'll recover the money fast. If it's 3, it's even faster. So cogeneration is a sort of hedging between the price of gas and energy. If the price of energy will be equal with the price of gas, definitely it is not a good solution. But even in such a case, we have a solution because we will use the electricity to produce natural gas or hydrogen, and we will use another type of cogeneration. So as an engineer, you find always a solution.
Whatever fits better at that time. We have 10 minutes left. Any question from the assembly? I don't see with the, sorry.
It's the only way to avoid me talking again. Please.
I guess that one is for me.
That's for you or
for you? George, you want to answer? I will answer after.
It's my opinion. I remember that we had an event 3-4 years ago in Sovata to a very big
when they were
hotel.
redoing the hotel.
Yeah. And the first 3 floors were renovated. The other 4 or 5 were during renovation. But everything was very well isolated, and as a customer, I had nothing to claim against. So it depends on how professional is the EPC contractor, actually. Yeah, this is my opinion. I don't know.
I would say we have to look at each scenario and how deep the renovation has to be. You know, do we have to destroy walls, drill walls, and everything that's placed? I've seen both scenarios. If a company can survive with the hotel closed for a period of time, it goes faster. Because then you don't have to stop because you have a customer in the hotel, you have a meeting in the hotel, you have something happening. But most of the hotel, because the operation has to continue, you try to work on different steps, you know, isolating, but definitely when you start to do rooms, you have already to consider that, let's say you renovate 3 floors, 3 floors will be out of order because you will need to take a floor cushion, not for the noise to go. If you have meetings during this time, you have to stop the work, right? Because I don't know what it is with workers. The moment the speaker, the most important speaker in the conference will start to talk, you have the jackhammer starting. I don't know, I think there is a Murphy law in the hotels. Usually it's what's happening. And then you hear nothing. Or they will do it at 8 in the morning when people are still sleeping. So it's a question that it requires a lot more adjustment in the timing. And yes, usually it takes longer to get the entire thing element. But in some cases, you need to keep income coming during the time. So soft renovation, you don't need to close. Hard renovation, sometimes, yes.
I can add to that.
Yes, sure.
About 7 or 8 years ago, we were doing a study to manage the entire portfolio of hotels in Dubai, and we've identified a renovation window that would appear only every 72 years. Because one of the main factors that we looked at was the opportunity cost. How much revenue are you losing because you are not using your inventory? And in Dubai specifically, and in the Middle East, you have this dynamic where the holy month of Ramadan and the summer, both being deep, the way they move, Ramadan moves and the summer stays fixed. You had a massive window of time when you could renovate. The problem then becomes that everybody wants to renovate then, and then how do you get the good workers, the good teams to come and work on your property, and how do you fight for that? So these two factors, the opportunity cost and the availability of actually the teams that you want to touch your property are two elements as well.
Akos, okay. Another question? Anyone?
I want to say something in terms of operational. In terms of operational efficiency, we bring here today at the reception a robot desk.
Exactly.
It's it's a prototype that helps you to make self-check-in or self-checkout, and also it's very useful for operational efficiency. And also offer to the customer a nice experience.
Yes, definitely. When we speak innovation, of course, you have television, we have infrastructure, but we have all those automated check-in, check-out. I would say 15 years ago, if I would have been told, you will not go anymore to the airport, to the desk to have your ticket, I will printing at home and just go almost straight to the plane, I will say, I don't think so. It's happened. I don't think that, except for very few flights, no one anymore goes to the desk to get the ticket and go to the boarding. In hospitality, that's my opinion, and maybe Charles can share. We'll have a mixed. We'll have a mix of people who want to go quick self-check-in because I'm a business person. I've been traveling the last 5 days. I don't want to go at the front desk and how was your flight? Oh, what, you know, the whole litany of check-in. I want to go, thank you, my rooms, sleep. Don't disturb me. And then you have, even in a business hotel, you have the person coming for the first time into the city. We want to have a discussion with the receptionist, you know, where can I go, what's happening in the city, what do you recommend? So it will be the two elements. And over the discussion, there were a lot of things. AI will kill the job of the front office. And I say no. AI or automation will simplify the job of the receptionist, that the administrative tasks can be done separately or before by automation and everything. The job of a receptionist will become even more important to be the interconnection, the host. You know, not behind a computer and do your check-in with passport, here your key, bye. You know, that will be done. That person now will have a lot more social importance vis-a-vis the client to have the social interaction with them and not being someone entering the data in a computer. That's my opinion. Charles is from Hyatt, so tell us.
I can share a few insights regarding the kiosk. We are running a few pilots right now regarding the kiosk. What we are doing is basically we started to install some kiosk check-in. So we started to install some kiosk at the reception. One thing we learned is, first is like McDonald's. So if you get into the hotel, if you don't see the kiosk, forget about that. No one will use the kiosk to check in. So, which means that kiosk will work mainly for select service properties, but when you get into a luxury property, you won't expect having a kiosk to check in. You want to talk to someone. But then I'm a believer that, and Hyatt believe in that kiosk is a transition to mobile check-in, where you don't need to check in at the kiosk, you basically check in on your mobile, and then you go straight to your room without necessarily passing by the reception. But for that, especially in Europe, we have limitation with the regulation because you still need to scan your passport and all those kind of things. So it takes a bit more time to develop those technologies. I know that Marriott, Accor, we are all working on those technologies. But ultimately, we will definitely check in on our mobile and go straight to the room. And however, we'll still have not front office anymore, but we will have guest relation, host, to welcome anytime the guest and answer any questions and provide service.
Thank you, Charles. We have 1 minute left. So one last question. I don't see, so Vlad, go ahead.
I will be the advocate again of the importance of the network, because the network in the hotel, it's a live network. It's not just that we connect to internet and browse for some web pages. This infrastructure will be critical for the well-functioning of the systems of the hotel. And we see a lot of, let's say, importance allocated to understand how the business can be supported, not just to be an expense that will not produce, but this network actually will have to contribute to the revenue that hotel can earn, or a hospitality group can earn. Think about the analytics that you can do over these networks to see how the behavior of your guests are doing. You have even a shopping area. You don't have only the standard room. You have the business area, where definitely is important to have a high quality. So this quality of experience is very much affected by how you design and you build your data infrastructure network. And just to finish the idea, we have outside in our small booth, my colleagues can show you a little bit more details about this fiber solution, fiber FTTO, as we name it, that will show you the advantages of it. Thank you.
Thank you. So the 80 minutes are gone already. I hope you found interesting information. Of course, you are all here if you have questions. Being in the booth, being here in the networking. Feel free to stop, to ask us questions, to ask Samsung to show you the desk, which is at the front. 5 Keys is around as well for Element. Varek is there, Y is there. Liviu will be walking around, and Kalin as well. And yes, me, you will see running around. So thank you very much for your attendance. We have now a short coffee break for 20 minutes. Then start the next 2 sessions. One session is, let me remember you. I wrote everything, but I forgot everything. Hospitality management module. What is now next, and how do we see the new management of the hotel contract coming on? And hospitality property as a business multiplier in community. So the B3, which is the management module now new next, will take place in this room, and the other one will go in the Magnolia room. So it's up to your choice where you would like to go. I thank you very much. Member of the panel, thank you very much for your participation, and enjoy.